Realmic design. It is articulated through a physical construct that allows itself to permeate the sensory input output carriers and literally mm, create a reflection or, well, reflection of energy. I was going to say deflection, though that wouldn't be accurate. So, the realm you find yourself in is multidimensional. And what that means is very specifically breathing, very specifically, what is taking place is there is a percentage of your intentional focus that is always magnetized to the physics, to the machine, I call it. You call it a body or embodiment. The reason I say this is because the machine is always running, even when it's asleep, uh, or when you believe you sleep, uh, the machine is running. And it powers down for cyclical actions, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. It all depends what's happening in the environment, what the machine has been through, etc., etc. Yes, breathe. So that's a certain percentage. Mm, the cognition aspect of all this, you call it brain, mind. mm, I'm not talking of ego, that's a buffer. I'm speaking of your gray matter, because it matters. Brain mind. There is a certain electromagnetic field force that also operates through your nervous system in your machine. This nervous system travels faster than the speed of light and literally is communicating um, with the synaptical inclusions throughout your gray matter. I say it this way because you call them neural pathways. One could say you have so many neural pathways, it's unimaginable about. hmm? Because the brain is, truthfully, the brain is like your machine, living and dying every day. Not total aspects of it, those minute, smaller neural pathways, they are always shimmering, fading, relighting something else, and shimmering and fading and relighting. And this is how it works. Alchemically, there's also a chemistry agent that is supplied through your brain mind, and thus it in its secretions speaks to other glandular effects throughout the machine, the embodiment, thus creating this whole highway of nucleic network communion. Hmm? Okay, that's your physics. That's how it operates. Of course, you know the rest with your organics, your organs, and your venous system, your vein, etc., etc. Beyond biology, beyond chemistry and physics, souls. This is the simplest way this construct is here. And it works by movement, as you know. The more you move the machine, the more life, energetic, cellular, atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, they all start vibrating and speaking and generating. Hmm. So that's another aspect of your total experience. Okay, so now you've got your physics and you've got how the physics is employed through your machine. And then you have this uh, band of, mm, we would call it augmentation energy. This augmentation energy literally surrounds your form. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Souls, sit back, breathe. The more you allow yourself to listen and just follow the wave, the more you will notice the energy expanding and contracting in your physical experience. No, I'm not there. As if I was there physically in the room with you, I'd, swat you with a feather, mm, touch you, maybe anoint you. There it is. It was there. It's hiding. The brown and the green vial. So, though I'm not there, there is a volition of conscious creation. You're tuned in to this virtual experience without too much delay and time lag. So it's just about instantaneous. And as you're sitting there, just notice how you feel. Remember, souls, what I am. I am consciousness merged through form in these moments. The only difference between you and I is that you believe and have agreed you're waking up through that form all the time until you're complete. And again, then consciousness expands beyond the electromagnetic field. That's another story for another time to continue. So just sit back. And the more you just allow yourself to be in your own energy dynamic, the dynamic frequency, the proliferation of what I am sharing, maybe you'll be able to experience as you sit, as you expand and contract, breathing. And so that organized auric field dynamic, mm, it's being brought up again because there is a hefty amount of astral vibration. Now, you could, astral can is a word I believe in your lexicon you've heard before, though maybe it has some different meanings. Let's just call it space. Astral energy starts to become more, I guess the word, if I was to say it, would be more concentrated when there is a dynamic force field. Hmm? Force field. So right now, your machine, even though doesn't feel like there's any stress or struggle, albeit no matter where you find yourself in this moment, I'm speaking in the wider dynamic picture of being physical, being through form on your planet Earth. Huh? Homo sapien, yes, your species. So this energy dynamic, it surrounds your physical construct and it allows a repatterning of how consciousness, non physical, unseen, multi dimensional consciousness allows itself to come through the magnetic astral planes, as you have all described, yet I just see it as coming into the plane of the magnetism of your planet. Hmm? The astral bodies, all of that, that's appropriate. All I would tell you is You are a frequency vibration. That is you, meaning your consciousness beyond your body. And it is held in place by the centrifugal frequency of your own embodiment, your machine, the physics of your planet, the magnetism, and that holographic, holodynamic frequency energy that surrounds and allows consciousness to merge through form. Now, some days are better than others, meaning you have these things you have labeled as emotion. Emotion. Hmm? We can go down and speak about what other merged consciousness has labeled it, but let's be really simple. Emotion hmm, is an aspect of mind. Bodies feel, minds think. So, in the wider picture, your ego, the buffer between that which is and that which is not, is allowing itself to figure out what's happening with the energy dynamic, with also controlled energies that are emitted from uh, frequency modulators like radio, television, all of those, and all your creations. They have a vibration. They don't always emit a frequency, though they have a vibration. Mm. And this then creates field volatility and dynamic movement. Now, what has this got to do with anything? Really simply, I mentioned emotions. Most of the time, from where I sit, emotions are I think, I feel. Because if you felt, the more you kept feeling it, there would be a dissipation after a while, especially physically. Your machine will, after a while, either phase out if it's overwhelmed by uh, that neurotransmitter that is recognizing the nervous system's threshold of pain. It can dynamically change. Uh, Maybe some of you have worked with your healing dynamics, your touch energy. Maybe you've worked with projection of energy. Uh, if you hold the place of pain in your form, and then you find another place that has a less pain dynamic, push in on both of those places until the human says, okay, I can feel that and I can feel the other one as well. After a while, they'll cancel. Uh, Breathe. Doesn't mean you'll be pain free. What it means is the pain will cessate. It'll stop emanating because the machine doesn't work that way. Hmm? So, moving forward, emotions, same thing. If you allow yourself to feel the emotion that you label as pleasure, anger, joy, happiness, tranquility, uh, intensity, hmm, fear, if you allow yourself to feel those, you will notice that after a while they would stop. Though brain mind, is elliptical, and sometimes it will think about it again and recharge that threshold, and you'll feel more emotional pain. All appropriate, it's fine. That's another dialogue when you're ready to truly let go of the emotion. In other words, non identification with emotion. You know how the human ego is. It loves its anger. It loves its loving. It loves its sadness. It loves, what, how do you human, uh, pain? No. Misery loves company. That's it. Fascinating. Hmm. So the emotions, they also have a palpable energetic exchange through the machine. And that's why the human ego sometimes demonstrates its emotions because of the amount of surged power through form. Wow. All of you here have been on the receiving end and the giving end at some point in your physical experience of what I have described. What does this have to do with what I was saying about energy bombarding and coming in uh, through the space? So that energetic field, mm, auric field, you are always in a constant state of experiencing dynamic energy. Let me reiterate that so you truly get the bandwidth I'm speaking of. It's an always on situation, souls, unless you're conscientious about how you participate. And I'm not just talking about clearing your field or scrubbing and washing away the day. This is a little more focused than that. And it's very simple. So, we're talking about energy. We're talking about dynamic frequencies and vibration. Many of you are still dealing with an aberration of volatility, meaning that there has been times in your physical reality where you've been bombarded so heavily that it like attached itself, it implanted itself into your field. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And psychologically, some people call this, in a therapeutic sense, they call it abuse, PTSD. They have all these labels in your world now. It's appropriate. Hmm? It's called confining the space. From where I sit, you want to expand that space so that it will allow itself to release. So, space. The continuum of existence is fascinating, isn't it? Some days you're so happy that the day is complete. Other times you're just like, oh, you're so elated. It's been such a amazing day. And maybe you see it as all positive, or maybe there was negative moments, whatever. But you just lay the body down and you vibrate very comfortably with all that you've received, with all that you've felt, hmm, with all that you've shared through your form. Energy. So breathe, breathe, breathe. That's right. Just allow yourselves to breathe for another moment, souls. Notice your dynamic field. Notice how everything is maybe spongy or just a little heavy. Hmm? It's fine. This happens all the time. Though people attribute it to body dysfunction. They attribute it to, oh, I've had a busy day. Uh-huh. All, all different ways of looking at this. And what are you looking at? You're noticing the machine through time and space, magnetism. And some of you are going, wow, it's like I can sleep all the time. I'm so tired or exhausted, even. And again, you could chalk it up to, you know, the busyness of the day, whether it's physical or emotional, as you humans call it, or it could be, huh, you're bouncing the little one on your knee, and it's just a lot. And so, what I'm trying to say here, souls, is that in this period of time, and it's going to happen probably through 2027, I would say, hmm, humanity is looking at itself not through the looking glass, not through rose colored lenses, not through tinted lenses or dark lenses. They're just seeing themselves, each and every one of you. And some days are more subtle, other days are more gross or intense. It's how you are allowing yourself to be with the energy dynamic, that uh, space. Are you giving yourself space? Mm, I'm sure many of you are still wondering on how to, move forward in this reality with grace and ease, and looking at uh, what you want to create, what you would like to manifest, what you would like to bring. And others of you are just staring at the wall sometimes, going, there must be something incorrect with what's going on here. Maybe I'm needing to see the medical practitioner and talk about my mentality. Uh, Maybe some of you think you're depressed. You are in an inexplicable, tumultuous time. And that time is obviously, it's like the current of oceanicness. It's tidal, in and out. It also is a wave form. If there's a storm, those waves can get really intense. And you've got nothing to do with the storm. You're just surrounded by it. Hmm? And no, this doesn't mean that you meditate more. No, it doesn't mean that you try to understand and be more honoring and accepting of your fellow human. No, 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 no. Something far more intrinsically connecting and far more witnessing for yourself. Oh, to drift, to allow yourself to have a moment or two to simply expand. Hmm? No matter where you find yourself, no matter what you think you're doing, no matter what you're being, how you're being, where you're being, wherever you are, here you are. Hmm? This is what's happening. This, meaning your dynamic energy through form. Maybe some of you have noticed how your mind has gotten quiet. Maybe you used to be very politically motivated or heavily emotionally charged, uh, and all of a sudden, or in your focused intention, all of a sudden you become aware of, like, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here. And you may be at work, you may be typing, you may be calculating, you may be listening. All of a sudden, there's this width that comes up, and this little heat wave. Maybe it feels like you've got a crown around your forehead going toward the back, pressing in ever so subtly. It's not that people look strange. You just all of a sudden are listening and looking, going, what are they talking about? Maybe you're at your job. Maybe you're with a group of friends. And all of a sudden, it's like you find yourself getting frustrated or cranky, upset. Huh? Yet you're not showing that. You're just going, and there is a part of you that simply, maybe you'll take a breath. Maybe instead of trying to do anything, you'll just witness this aspect of you commenting and then stopping. The astral energies from, in a measurement concept, beyond measurement. Though it's energy, it can be here beyond time and space. Just like your dynamic is here beyond time and space. And in these examples, you just don't know how to be anymore. You don't know what to do. So maybe you say, right back. And it's the usual thing. Your body needs to go to the rest room. Hmm? Though maybe you don't go to the restroom, you just step outside of the construct, the building you're in, or maybe just remove yourself for a moment or two and you go, wow, instead of trying to figure out or understand what's happening. The simplest thing is to let it pass through you, pass over, pass through, pass under. Hmm. Each and every one of you are quantifiable and quantizing the input output carriers. Your sensitivity level is through the roof. Hmm. You know that to be true just by listening to the other. If you happen to glance at your, what do you call them, your devices, and uh, hear this, watch that, look at this, you realize there is this great expunging, this exposition that humanity is uh, siphoning off of itself. All this commentary, some of it funny, some of it inciting, some of it uncomfortable. What's happening is humanity is letting it go. Some people are using it and they're influencing, they're adding to it, they're subtracting from it. And for a moment or two, everyone's participating in that. And then all of a sudden, it shifts again. What I will say to you is it's always shifting. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So the consideration I would proffer to those of you gathered, those of you listening, those in the widest aspect, time for you to allow yourself this procedural awareness, even though you wake up in the same bed, wake up in the same domicile, your home, wake up to the same humanoids around you and domestication animals and farm life and city life and apartment, whatever you got. Ego mind goes, doesn't even question it because it's all the same. It's a little different when you go traveling, isn't it? To a new place, wake up in a new city, wake up in a new environment, and everything, you're just taking it all in. The reason I'm bringing it up this way, souls, is you are taking it all in all the time. All the time. Astral energy is bombarding uh, this experience. People are wanting things to change. They are. You are. Each and every one of you, no matter your age, your gender, no matter. The reckoning that was asked for, that people were saying is coming, it's here. You're reckoning yourself in the reflections. And some of you are experiencing transparency, translucence, and invisibility. What that means is, as you walk through, you realize everyone has this, for lack of a better word, an agenda. They're living their life. That's their agenda. You are experiencing your life. And some days you go, where is my motivation? Where, what's happened? Hmm. And again, maybe, wow, cool. Maybe you go to your doctor and say, I don't feel myself. I blah, 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 blah. This may seem pedantic to some of you. It may seem just normal. It's anything but normal. It's the usual, souls. I bet you in your country where you find yourself, there are statistics that are saying more humanoids are on some form of brain chemistry to help them handle their reality. Mm. It's appropriate. Absolutely. All I would remind you is, for some of you, no matter how much medication you take, no matter how much you meditate and twist yourself into a, a position of the yoga, the yogini, you are still going to experience this onslaught of energy. So, I would remind you, when it is that everything turns on, so to speak, uh, brain mind goes, oh, good morning, or whatever. It's a new day. Hmm. Sometimes you know it because your body goes, whoa, that's new. And other times you know it because, well, the animal's a little different. Maybe the people you live with, they're a little different. It's always new. Open, close, start with close, open, close, Open, close, open and blink 3 times. Breathe. That offers a change. It literally stops the optical nerve. It's changing the input output carrier for a moment or two. So brain has to go, what's happening? Now, I say this as an example for you. Everything's always new. It just doesn't appear that way. Energetically, it's always different, though it doesn't appear that way. Taste, touch, smell, sight, sound, whatever your sensory is telling you. So, what am I saying? I'm saying, souls, the quickening of your species is taking place. You've been at the edge and free falling for some time. Some of you got tired of screaming. Some of you got tired of being scared. And you're just going, okay, this is what's happening. It feels different. It's time for you to remember this is an augmentation for you, consciousness. You are coming through form, and the form is stable. It changes, though its changes are a lot simpler. Complexity, but simple. Hmm. Your consciousness comes to this environment and illuminates it within itself all over again in the quark of a second. Just consider it's new. New for you. Doesn't mean you have to, put on a mask or take off a mask. Whatever excites you, just consider it's new. And what that'll do is give you pause. And you'll notice that's why the commentary, you have more space in your thoughts because less commentary. Hmm? And then you can feel people, and maybe you've been quietly having conversations with them without them being there. Hmm? You may say that happens all the time. Good. That's appropriate. So, one thing in all of this. So, your consciousness merged through form, expanding and contracting, living a physical extension. Hmm? Please recognize you're multidimensionally simultaneously. So there are aspects of you that are, I'll use the word, living out this experience in different dimensions. So it's not as apparent or not as physical or not as connected as it seems that you are, let's say, in this moment. Hmm? There are aspects of you, have you ever wondered when you've had a real, an intense experience, however your ego labels that, whatever it thinks, whatever it does, you had this experience. Even whether you see it as positive or negative. And if you were human, truly, it's like a little scale. It goes back and forth and back and forth. And finally you go, you know what? Maybe I'll do what Malachite says, just say fuck it with a smile. And it just slowly, slowly, and then you get bored and forget about it. Hmm. Or There's that thing where it's going back and forth and positive, negative, and finally you just go enough. And it just pauses wherever it is. Enough. You've taken the energy off of it, of you focusing on it. Or you've talked it out enough and you've, for lack of word, blown the electromagnetic charge on that thought. Just so you comprehend, sometimes when you've thought of someone, then all of a sudden another situation came up and you handled that, and maybe you've forgotten you were thinking about that person. Hmm, all of a sudden, you get a communique. Oh, that what they call it? Oh, communication. Huh? Text, phone call, email, whatever. Oh, wow, I was just thinking about them earlier. All this is happening all the time, not always in this focal point. Remember, dimensions are not like, what do you call them? Not stairs, not, oh, right, uh, levels, right? They're not levels. They all exist concentrically. Sometimes they pass through one another. Hmm? Why I say it this way is that energetically, this is one of the most profound times to be able to play in a linear construct that's moving. Now, I've often said it'd be nice if it wasn't going circular. Well, truly, it's evolving, it's moving, it's a spiral, and it grows, and then it narrows, and it grows, and it narrows. But your species is exactly where it's supposed to be. And those of you who are aware are realizing there are aspects of your consciousness that are coming into your cognitive awareness where it's not shapes or forms or pictures, it's not little voices in your head, it's a knowing. And I say this to your souls, this knowing will guide you. This knowing. It is aspects of you that are in these different dimensional gates. Hmm? And you have arrived at a communication point. You have arrived at a space where you're not so in the construct of this reality. Feet in both worlds, souls. That's why you're even here, to remind yourself consciously you got feet in both worlds. And I would say in many worlds. Even some of you here this very night, there are aspects of you that you cannot fathom in the moment. You're going, what is this piece of me bringing? Instead of asking what, when, why, or how about recognizing the fact that you're noticing there's more taking place? People always ask me, Malachite, how come I only get so far and then it looks like it's always the same in my meditations? Or when you say sit in the seat, I sit in the seat and nothing ever seems to change after a while. It stays. And simply I say, well, what's your experience? What's happening? And they'll give me their story of what they consider is going on consciously in this multidimensional realmic experience. And it's always fascinating because the humanity of you gives away totally the truth of your existence here. You want to know why? Hmm, why is it doing that? Why did it say that? Or why did I think I heard that? Why is this taking place? Hmm, like the wide-eyed child. Why? Well, children really don't ask why until they learn that it's something that the human being uses to comprehend or understand or compartmentalize this ongoing, ever new experience called living. I remind you, instead of asking, how can I get more proficient at receiving these messages or the guidance? How can I uh, equilibrate more? What do I need to do? Do I need to balance myself? Blah blah, and it goes on. Why? Why is it happening that way? Souls, it is happening. That's the most magical thing for you to put your attention on. Oh, it is happening. And the more you just sit with that truly the child that you are, that always been and always will be, just goes, wow. And then instead of the constriction of the what, when, where, why, and how, all of a sudden it opens a little wider and more of those gates open of your dimensional connectivity. Each and every one of you are experiencing more and more to come. The reason? There is no reason. It's the further expansion of living. Consider what lives. A koan for your ego mind. What lives? Have fun. So, all I have to say in these moments is attune yourself. And the attenuation, the attunement is very simple. It's so simple that usually humans don't bother with it. And that is to consciously remember, decide. Decide. Why remember? Why choose? Decide that this is new. Maybe every time, every time you alter, every time you shift a course, every time you decide it's new, it is. Because in that moment, you're willing to be more open, more expansive, more allowing, whatever the label you want to use, to allow and to receive more. The more you allow and receive, the more space will expand. The more you release the accumulations, the more space. The more space, the more expanse. Another koan for you souls